Yo, hold up. Nicki Minaj just got saved by something nobody can explain, and the timing is sending chills down everybody's spine. While shots were literally going off, K-Dot's biggest rival was untouched. Like the universe itself opened an umbrella over her head. Meanwhile, Klay Thompson's alleged side piece just got dragged into the daylight, and Cardi B? Body hopped on Spaces tonight thinking she was throwing daggers at the queen, and ended up cutting herself wide open. Body really woke up and chose violence, but against her own career. Before we get into it, subscribe, don't miss it, nah. Alright, before we go deeper, let me lay the whole thing out so you understand exactly what we're looking at, because once you see the timeline, you're gonna understand why this weekend flipped the entire culture upside down. So picture this. Anika Tanya Mirage, known to the world as Nicki Minaj, known to the streets as a queen, known to the Bobs as untouchable, was scheduled to walk into the White House Correspondents Association dinner on April 26, 2026. This wasn't just any event. This was THE Political Media Crossover Night of the Year, the kind of room where senators rub shoulders with A-list celebrities, where one photo can shift your career trajectory for a decade. Anika was supposed to be there at the top of the hour, dressed to the nines, ready to remind the world that hip-hop sits at every table now. But as fate would have it, or as something bigger than fate would have it, she rolled up late, and that lateness became the difference between making headlines for a gown and making headlines for surviving an actual shooting incident that erupted right outside the venue as reported by Okayplayer. Let that sink in for a second. The very thing that would normally be considered a publicist's nightmare, a tardy arrival to a black tie event, is what kept her body, her name, and her legacy out of the line of fire. The universe ran the clock for her. That ain't luck. That's covering. Now, the same weekend, and this is where the parallel story starts cooking, Belcalis Almonzo, better known as Cardi B, better known as Body, decided to log on to X Spaces on April 23rd, 2026, for what should have been a casual fan check-in and turned into the most catastrophic cell phone of her entire career. She wasn't promoting a single. She wasn't dropping an album rollout. She wasn't even responding to a direct attack. She got on that microphone and started swinging at shadows, threatening a European tour leg, dragging Bad Bunny's name into a numbers war, and accidentally, and I do mean accidentally, admitting that the streaming and ticketing numbers floating around her camp might not be entirely real per breakdown by Complex. Body really thought this was a move. Body looked at the calendar, saw an open weekend, and decided, you know what? Let me go pick a fight with a woman whose tour just grossed 9 figures. Picked the worst weekend of her life to start yapping. Because while she was pacing in front of her ring light rehearsing dunks, the universe was quietly queuing up a moment that would put her rival on every news ticker on the planet for surviving danger. And let's not forget the third storyline running underneath all of this, the Klay Thompson situation. Because while Body was monologuing and Anika was dodging headlines, Lexi Brown's name was getting yanked into the daylight by every gossip blog with a Wi-Fi connection, accused of being the side piece in the Megan Pete and Klay Thompson breakup according to Page 6. 3 storylines. 1 weekend. All of them connected by a single thread. Exposure. Somebody was getting exposed every 12 hours, and Body was tripping over the wire trying to film herself doing it. Now let's pull up the receipts that show exactly why this whole thing imploded. Because every claim in this video is backed by something you can pull up, screenshot, and verify yourself. Alright, let's open the vault. And I want you all to pay attention to every single one of these because the receipts are doing the talking, not me. Quote number 1, and this is the one that sent X into a 4-day spiral. On X Spaces dated April 23rd, 2026, Body got on the MIC and said, word for word, what you're gonna say when I do a European leg? What you're gonna say when I do a second leg? Even the fake numbers that you're making up, it's still beating B asterisk asterisk S. Bro. When I heard this, I had to pause my coffee, put the cup down, and rewind it 3 times because I genuinely thought my Bluetooth was glitching. Body said, what? That's not a flex. That's a confession dressed up like a flex. You don't get to say even the fake numbers, and then get mad when grown adults treat that sentence like an admission. That's the dumbest sentence I've ever heard come out of a major artist's mouth in real time to the breakdown by Complex. She handed her whoops a sword and dared them not to swing. Quote number 2. Same Spaces session. No break, no pause, no advisor pulling her off the MIC. She pivoted into defending Live Nation. Live Nation got so many. Every artist go on tour with Live Nation. Why would they lie about Lil Me? That line right there, that's where she lost the entire plot. Because Body, baby, the receipts already came out. Tour Data, the independent ticketing analytics outlet, originally posted her gross at $69.5 million, then mysteriously deleted the post and re-uploaded with $70.0 million as documented by hip-hop content. $500,000 doesn't just vaporize off a spreadsheet. That's not a typo. That's not a glitch. That's somebody picking up a phone and asking somebody else to pick up a calculator. Quote number 3. The receipts get crispier. According to a Viral X breakdown that resurfaced this week, the actual ticket count tells a story Body's team really hoped nobody would do the math on. A total of 432,593 tickets were sold across 35 shows, but they reported 453,000 tickets sold, a difference of 20,407 tickets, about 4.5%, as broken down across hot new hip-hop coverage of the controversy. That's not a rounding error. That's not a margin of statistical noise. That's 20,000 phantom tickets walking around an arena that doesn't exist. When I saw this number, I leaned back in my chair like, oh, so the math is mathing, just not in Body's favor. Quote number 4. And this one, this one cooked the internet for 48 straight hours. Stefan Diggs, the man Body has been parading around as a boyfriend, posted on what fans believe is his Finsta, his secondary, supposedly private Instagram account, and dropped this gem about Body. We're calling her Cardi B for the rest of this video. Get used to it. LOL, I cannot do relationships at all and be mad at me cause because we're lurking her page about me like you knew I was a birthday BH before you came. FWM, this is asterisk T crazy. Bro just called himself a birthday B asterisk H out loud with his whole chest on a platform that screen records faster than he can type as captured in coverage by hot new hip-hop. When I read this caption, I literally stood up off my couch. Stefan is not beating those allegations. My G, that man is throwing a one-person pride parade in his own Instagram drafts, and Body is a marching band leader who didn't get the memo. Quote number 5. Switching lanes briefly to the Klay Thompson chapter, because this whole weekend is connected. Lexi Brown, the WNBA star whose name got dragged into the Megan Pete-Klay Thompson breakup rumors, finally addressed the cheating allegations on her own platform. Per a Page 6 report dated April 27, 2026, she made it crystal clear she's not involved and described herself as a victim of the social media rumor mill. And listen, I'm not saying she did anything. I'm not saying she didn't. I'm just saying Lexi is drop-dead gorgeous, and Clay historically has not been linked to ugly women. That's not an accusation. That's a pattern recognition exercise. Take it however you want. Quote number 6. Nicki herself. After narrowly missing the WHCA shooting by what witnesses described as a matter of minutes, Nicki hopped on TikTok with a quiet video of herself in the back of her car, captioned with a single American flag and a prayer hands emoji for coverage by hot new hip-hop. No words. No rant. No thank God I'm alive Instagram live. Just vibes. And that silence, that single, deliberate, surgical silence, was louder than every word Body screamed into a microphone all weekend. The Queen said more with 2 emojis than Body said in 2.5 hours of spaces. Now that we got the quotes locked in, let's connect the dots, because the timeline tells a story that nobody is connecting out loud. Here's where it gets wild. Y'all, pull out your conspiracy boards because the chronology of this weekend is something you can't make up if you tried. That Spaces? Body went live on April 23rd, 2026. The White House Correspondents Association shooting? April 26, 2026. Exactly 3 days later, according to coverage from AOL. So while Body was on a microphone at midnight trying to manifest a European tour to dunk on the Queen, the universe was already 3 days into setting up a moment that would put Nicki Minaj's name in headlines from CNN to BBC to Al Jazeera for surviving an actual life-threatening event. Body really thought she had the news cycle locked down for a weekend. The universe heard her, smiled, and said, "Hold my beer." You cannot script timing like that. You can't. Remember that Finsta caption? Stefan dropped his birthday B H post the same week Body was telling the world she was a bigger draw than her decades-long rival. So while she's screaming European leg into the void, Her own man is on Instagram low-key telling the entire culture that here's a prize, here's the catch, here's the one being lurked over. And to make it even more cinematic, the Diggs family, his mom, his brother, the whole crew, were photographed showing up to Barty's DC tour stop in what looked like a forced family photo op designed to lock in the narrative as covered by Hollywood Unlocked. When the family has to show up with matching smiles to confirm a relationship is real, the relationship is already in trouble. That's not love. That's damage control. Now the Clay situation, because the ripple effect is wild. The breakup story between Megan Pete and Clay Thompson dropped, and within 48 hours the internet had picked Lexi Brown out of a lineup based purely on social media following habits. Specifically the fact that Clay and Lexi unfollowed each other right around the breakup window per reporting tracked by Yahoo. That's the dot nobody's connecting on the surface. The unfollowed timing is what made the rumor go viral. Not a photo, not a text leak, not a paparazzi shot. Just two grown people clicking buttons on their phones in the same week. That's how thin the line between rumor and reality is in 2026. And here's the crazy part. Barty's drama got so loud, it actually drowned out a juicy NBA WNBA cheating allegation that should have been dominating sports timelines for a week. Instead, it got a B-plot mention because Barty was on Spaces talking about phantom European tickets. Behind-the-scenes context, and this is a layer most people are missing because they don't have a long memory. Barty and Onika's beef have been reignited since September 29, 2025, when Onika dropped him out of drama on the same day Barty released her album for the historical record on the Wikipedia entry for the Nicki Minaj Cardi B feud. That wasn't a coincidence. That was a chess move. Their entire 2026 has been parallel track warfare. Every release, every interview, every red carpet calculated against the other woman's calendar. So when Barty mentioned European leg right after Onika's Pink Friday 2 World Tour grossed $108.8 million globally, she's not flexing. She's reacting. And reactive moves are losing moves. Any artist with real veteran advisors in their ear would have waited, would have let the news cycle cool, would have built a different angle. Barty clearly doesn't have those advisors anymore, and that's a story all by itself. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Now check this out, because this is a layer nobody's talking about, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Zoom into one specific phrase from that Spaces audio, even the fake numbers. Read it slowly. Even the fake numbers. That's a Freudian slip. Family. She didn't say the alleged fake numbers. She didn't say what you'll call fake numbers. She didn't say the numbers haters are making UP. She said even THE fake numbers, using the definite article, which in linguistics is called a presupposition. It's a grammatical structure where the speaker's own brain admits the premise is true a half-second before the conscious mouth catches up to spin it according to language analysis pulled into the complex breakdown of the rant. Barty didn't just offend herself badly. Barty accidentally validated her haters mid-rant. And the wildest part? She didn't catch it. She kept going. She didn't pause, didn't backtrack, didn't go, wait, let me rephrase that. She just steamrolled past her own confession like a tourist walking past the Mona Lisa. Now zoom into Stefan Finster, specifically the words birthday be asterisk 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 H. Pause on this. Bro didn't say birthday boy. Didn't say birthday king. Didn't say the man of the hour. He went straight to feminine slang to describe himself. In hip-hop and broader urban culture, that's not a slip of the keyboard. That's a signal, a coded message, a wink, a nod to a specific audience that knows exactly what those words mean. And the fact that he posted it on a Finsta, a secondary account, tells you he wanted plausible deniability while still letting it leak as discussing coverage tracked by hot new hip-hop. That's calculated. That's deliberate. That's a man who knows a screenshot is coming and posted it anyway. If Barty had even one trustworthy advisor in her circle, somebody would have pulled her aside before she pinned a Man of the Year sash on this dude. Pattern forensics on the tour data deletion, and this is a smoking gun the moment the case closes. The original number posted was $69.5 million. The corrected number was $70.0 million. Why does that $500K bump matter? Because $70 million is a psychological barrier that lets PR teams write headlines like Barty hits $70 million, a new milestone. $69.5 million doesn't get a headline. $70.0 million does. That's not a typo correction. That's a marketing intervention according to receipts circulating in the hot new hip-hop reporting on the controversy. The ACT of deletion is what proves the intent. You don't delete a true number. You only delete a number that didn't serve the narrative. And the deletion is permanent on the record because fans archive the original post before the swap happened. The internet never forgets, and the Bob screenshot faster than the FBI. Behavioral pattern forensics on Body herself, because this is where it gets even spicier. Pull up the timeline of her recent appearances and you are gonna notice something. She's not popping out at clubs, not hitting parties, not doing surprise pop-ups, not even doing the rounds at Fashion Week. In hip-hop, when a major artist goes underground for 4 to 6 weeks right after the tour leg ends, there are only TWO reasons. Studio lock-in or surgical recovery. And she's already publicly mentioned Colombia trips on her own platform for coverage by Page 6. Connect the dots. Connect the timeline. Connect the swelling room window with the absence from the streets, and you understand why the European leg announcement on Spaces feels less like a bold flex and more like a delay tactic. She's buying healing time. That's not the move of a confident artist with a real plan. That's the move of an artist whose calendar is being dictated by her recovery schedule. Now let's see how the media played all this, because the framing tells you everything. So the framing is wildly different across outlets, and you'll need to see this side by side because it tells you exactly who's biased, who's neutral, and who's quietly cooking. Complex frame Body Spaces rant as a competitive ambition story. They leaned heavy into the she just want to compete with Bad Bunny angle, soft-pedaling the entire portion where she basically admitted the numbers might be cooked. That's a friendly framing. That's the kind of headline that comes out of a publication that doesn't want to lose access. Body's PR team must have complex on speed dial because that piece read more like a press release than a news article. But hot new hip-hop went a different direction entirely. They led with a European tour cancellation angle from earlier reporting cycles, framing the whole European leg boast as suspect from the jump because of past sales struggles overseas. Those receipts from earlier? HNHH is using them to cast doubt on every promise Body made on Spaces. That's neutral journalism. Let the reader weigh the evidence. Two outlets, same audio file, completely different vibes. Page 6 and Fox via Outkick took separate lanes on the Clay Lexi situation. That's worth noting. Page 6 framed Lexi as a victim of the rumor mill. Sympathetic angle. Full benefit of the doubt. Soft hands. The Outkick framing leaned more skeptical, treating it as a denial story and leaving the door open for receipts to drop later. Same facts. Same denial. Completely different reader experience. That's a media game in 2026. The angle is a story. Now the counter-narrative is loud, real talk. Body's defenders are out here saying the tour data deletion was just a rounding correction, that analytics outlets correct numbers all the time, and that the whole thing is Bob's reaching. Some are even claiming Nicki orchestrated the leak as part of an ongoing whisper campaign. Here's why that doesn't hold up. Tour data is an independent outlet. They don't move on rapper requests. And the fact that the original number was archived by fans before the deletion is what makes this A-tied as covered in hot new hip-hop's breakdown. Receipts always survive. Always. Body fans are reaching trying to defend this. The same people who said wait for the European leg are gonna be the same people pretending nothing happened when the European leg gets quietly cancelled 6 weeks from now. The friendly media is trying to spin this a Body, but the receipts don't lie, and the math doesn't lie, and the audio doesn't lie. If you still think Body has a point after all this evidence, the cooked numbers, the Freudian slip, the Finster caption, the deletion timeline, the BBL recovery rumors, the soft glove media coverage, you're not analyzing anymore. You're just biased. And that's okay. But don't call it journalism. But here's what nobody is saying out loud. Mainstream is treating this whole thing like a regular rapper vs rapper beef. The kind where two artists trade subliminals on Twitter, the internet picks sides, and we all move on after the next album drops. And you are eating it up like that's all there is to the story. Here's what they won't tell you. Here's the take that's gonna get this video flagged before it gets pushed to 100,000 views. The real story is this isn't a music feud at all. It's an industry-manufactured rivalry designed to keep one woman afloat at the expense of another, and the cracks are finally showing because the universe itself is intervening on behalf of the queen. Look at the angle nobody's connecting. Why is Body getting industry grace 9 years into a career while Nicki gets dragged through the mud after a 15-plus year reign? Because the industry needs Body to win. There's a whole business apparatus, labels, streaming partners, awards bodies, ticketing companies, publicity firms, that bet on her in 2017 and can't afford to let that bet fail publicly. So every rounding error, every tour data retraction, every soft glove headline, every Grammy nomination that mysteriously appears in a category she shouldn't be in, those are withdrawals from a credibility account that someone else opened in 2017 as discussed in a historical context preserved on the Wikipedia entry for the Nicki Minaj-Cardi B feud. Body is a puppet, and the strings are being visible to anyone willing to look up. Now lay in the cultural angle. Hip-hop is going through a generational transition right now, and it's accelerating fast. The girls who came up streaming era, your Ice Spices, your Glorillas, your Latas, your Sexy Reds, they are hungry, they are talented, and they don't need the Body narrative to break through. So why is the industry still propping up the same 2017 storyline in 2026? Because admitting Body was an industry plant means admitting the whole machine is broken per cultural conversations tracked across Reddit's pop culture community. The culture has already moved on. Body is the old guard pretending to be the new guard. That's the move of someone watching the train leave the station, screaming for the conductor to wait, while the new generation is already 3 stops ahead. Here's the psychological warfare layer, and this is the part that's gonna age like fine wine. Remember that Spaces? Body spoke for hours. She ranted. She paced. She defended. She explained. She justified. Nicki said nothing. Not a word. Posted a TikTok with a single emoji after dodging an actual shooting that made international news for hot new hip-hop. Now ask yourself, who looks more powerful in that frame? The woman screaming into a microphone trying to convince strangers her numbers are real? Or the woman who survives a national news event without saying a single sentence and lets her presence do the work? Body is playing checkers while Nicki is playing chess. Every move Body makes is predictable. The rant, the deflection, the European leg carrot, the boyfriend cameo. She's already lost a war and doesn't even know which conflict she's in. Now the authenticity angle, because this is where the case closes for me. Body's whole brand from day one has been real, raw, ratchet. From the streets, what you see is what you get. But everything we discuss in this video, the cook numbers, the soft media coverage, the boyfriend shouting, birthday B******** on a Finsta, the BBL recovery rumors, the constantly moving goalposts that pivot from Bad Bunny to Taylor Swift to whoever's hot that week. That's not real, raw, ratchet. That's a manufactured persona scrambling to hold itself together with duct tape and hashtags as discussed in cultural commentary archived by hot new hip-hop. Body is rewriting her own history because a real story isn't impressive enough to stand on its own anymore. The whole persona is manufactured, and the Spaces rant was a moment the costume slipped off in front of the live audience. And the spiritual layer, because this is a part you'll keep DMing me about, who is Nicki really serving? Whatever it is, she's serving it faithfully, and the proof is in the timeline. Twice this year alone. First, the original Trump-adjacent incident earlier in the year. Now the WHCA shooting on April 26. Nicki has been shielded from danger by the smallest, most random, most overlooked circumstances for the chain of events documented by OKPlayer. Late to a red carpet? That lateness saved her life. A traffic delay? That delay rewrote her entire weekend. The Queen isn't lucky. Lucky people win the lottery. The Queen is covered. There's a difference. And Body is out here picking fights with a woman whose calendar is being personally edited by forces she can't even pronounce. That's not a beef. That's a sacrificial offering. And that's a truth they won't tell you on the morning shows. So what happens next? Here's what's most likely to happen, and you'll mark this video down because we're gonna come back to it. Within the next 30 to 60 days, that European tour announcement Body keeps teasing on Spaces is gonna run face first into a brick wall. When the on-sale dates drop, the secondary market is gonna show ticket prices cratering in London, Paris, Manchester, Berlin, Amsterdam. Same way they did during the US leg right before the $4.99 fire sales kicked in, and somebody had to correct the gross from $69.5 million to $70 million according to the receipt surfaced by hot new hip-hop. When that happens, and it's when Not if. Body is gonna look desperate screaming into the void about haters faking the numbers while StubHub is literally giving away tickets to clear inventory. The silence from Onika is gonna hurt more than any diss track Body could write in a studio. The queen don't got to swing. Gravity is already doing her job for her. Watch. Now. If Onika does decide to respond, and Lord knows a Bob are begging for it on every platform with a comment section, Body is gonna get destroyed in real time. We've already seen what Onika did to Remy Ma. We've seen what she did on Bigfoot. We've seen what she can do with a single TikTok caption during the Met Gala season. The woman has a 15-year archive of demolitions to pull from according to historical context tracked at the Wikipedia entry for the Nicki Minaj Cardi B feud. If she takes this seriously and drops one verse, one post, one Instagram live, Body is not ready for the wave that's coming. The Spaces rants won't save her. The Live Nation defenses won't save her. Her bestie Stefan definitely won't save her. That man's gonna be too busy explaining the birthday be asterisk H caption on Hot 97 morning radio while the DJ tries not to laugh. Body loses either way. She just loses louder if Onika pulls up. Looking at the bigger picture, this is the inflection point. This is the moment. 5 years from now, when culture writers do their retrospectives on the late 2020s era of female rap, this Spaces clip is gonna be the moment they point to as Body's biggest L. Not the Grammy losses. Not the album sales. Not the leaked Finsta. This, the live recording where she literally said even the fake numbers, is gonna be in every documentary, every TikTok video essay, every Fall from Grace YouTube breakdown. It's gonna be referenced the same way people reference a maybe is a bad guy Kanye interview or the Lauryn Hill IRS press conference. It becomes a cultural artifact. Body is watching the culture move on without her, and there's nothing she can do about it because a receipt is already saved on every Bob's hard drive, every blogger's encrypted folder, every podcaster's research Dropbox. Meanwhile, Onika's Pink Friday 2 World Tour final gross is gonna sit in the record books at $108.8 million, untouchable for any female rapper alive not named Beyoncé or Taylor Swift per the comparative analysis circulating across coverage by Yahoo. That's a legacy gap that no manufactured rivalry can ever close, no matter how many Spaces sessions Body runs. And the cultural ripple? Oh, this is a part that should scare the whole industry. When Body's House of Cards finally collapses publicly, it's not gonna take just her with it. It's gonna take a lot of industry plants down in the splash zone. Tour data analysts already getting flagged in DMs across hip-hop Twitter. Live Nation is getting investigated by fans line by line, show by show, ticket stub by ticket stub. Streaming services are gonna get audited by independent watchdogs the way Spotify already is in some markets as referencing cultural commentary on Reddit's pop culture community. This isn't just one rapper losing a feud. This is a whole ecosystem of inflated stats, fabricated numbers, and manipulated charts getting exposed in real time. And Body is going to be remembered as Patient Zero, the artist whose own mouth, on her own Spaces, on her own platform, started the unraveling of the entire industry. Whatever happens, whether Onika responds or stays silent, whether the European leg drops or quietly disappears, whether Stefan doubles down or deletes a Finsta, one thing is already crystal clear. Body already lost. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say. Ring that bell for notifications. And if you want more truth bombs like this, click on one of these videos next. Trust me, you'll want to see what we found. And by the way, tomorrow we're dropping something wild about what Stefan Diggs' brother just leaked about the birthday be asterisk H caption. You do not want to miss that.